And for anyone watching the replay from tomorrow onwards, hello. Thank you for joining. Had another few people join. I have a chat box that should be at the bottom of your screen that you can send me messages. If you let me know where you are sitting tonight and if you've done any tapping before, that would be great. And if you want that message to go to the whole group, you can click all panelists and attendees. Otherwise, it'll just go to me. And we're just going to wait for a few more people. Anyone else had the dreaded flu, colds? I've been suffering since Friday, but luckily today it's not too bad. I have been taking lots of Lemsip cold and flu tablets. So I should have my voice for this evening. Hi, lovely. So we have someone on and they've not used tapping before. Lovely to have you. And where are you based at the moment? If you could let us know. Just encouraging anyone new to use the chat box and let me know where you are and whether you've used tapping before. Another Dublin. So far we've got 2 Dublin, 1 from Worthing. I can see people joining. Hi, lovelies. We have someone from Brighton and a friend who's done a second webinar with us. That's great. Another person from Limerick, new to tapping. Amazing. Thank you for joining. Just going to give it a couple more minutes. Hi, lovely. I think we are using the chat box just to introduce ourselves or just let people know where you're sitting at the moment tonight and whether you're new to tapping or not. And then we will start. I'm just checking my messages to see if anybody's struggling to get in. Okay, I think maybe we'll make a start. We might have more people come, or maybe a lot of people are going to do the replay. Right, I want you to close your eyes for a second and we're just going to take a few deep breaths to bring ourselves into this space and we'll set an intention. So just have your feet on the floor and take a few deep breaths into your heart space. So imagine the breath coming in, filling your heart up. And then breathing out through your mouth, just releasing all the tension of today. Inhaling peace and exhaling tension. And just return to normal breaths now. We'll just set an intention to honor yourself and to give yourself gratitude for being here now tonight or for watching this replay, for giving yourself some self-care and for allowing yourself permission to learn something new and to hopefully reduce a reliance or a tie to alcohol with the tapping script that we will do later. One more big deep breath in. Just breathe it all out. Be ready to learn something new. I'm going to share a PowerPoint that I've prepared. Let me just find that PowerPoint. Let me see. Okay. Can people just let me know if you're actually seeing a PowerPoint presentation, please? Okay, great, thank you. When it comes to the tapping, I'll minimize the PowerPoint so that you can see me more clearly, because right now I think I'm only a small person on your screen. And I really just wanted to spend a bit of time talking you through tapping, what it is, where it came from, why it works, and a little bit of science behind, or research kind of proving that it works. Because I think once you understand how something works and also feel the benefit, hopefully you'll feel some benefits after we do the tapping script later, you'll be much more inclined to actually use tapping in your day-to-day life. So that's why I'm going to spend a little bit of time teaching you how to tap, and then we'll go into the tapping script on alcohol. I just want to keep note of the track of time. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you're giving up your precious time to do this, so I don't want to keep you too long. We'll go through what is tapping, some research. I'll remind you of the tapping points. We'll go through the tapping points. We'll do some tapping on alcohol. And if we have time at the end, we will also talk about what tapping can be used for, some tapping tips, and when to tap, some things like that, kind of how you might incorporate it into your day-to-day life. And then we'll do a Q&A at the end. We can use the question box in the webinar chat that you see at the bottom of your screen to engage with me if we want to at the end. So we'll kick off with what it is and where it came from. So people often call it acupuncture without needles. I like to call it talk therapy on speed. But it's kind of a combination of acupuncture and psychology, the talk therapy, counseling together. The act of tapping on certain points in the body actually tell your brain that it's safe. So I'll go back a little step. When we are in stress mode, so anytime something negative happens to our physical self, so it could be a physical trauma, like a car crash, or an invasion of your kind of sense of self. So somebody is very degrading to you, or questions your ability to do something, like a boss sending a very nasty email. All those things can make you feel threatened. Your sense of self is threatened both physically and emotionally or mentally. All those things can trigger you into the flight, fight, freeze mode. So I'm not sure if people understand this. I'm sure you've heard of it. But basically what happens when, oh, hang on, I just want to see if we got a message there. Sorry, I thought I had a message. When we have a stress response, the body goes into flight, fight, freeze mode, and the amygdala in the brain starts triggering the parasympathetic nervous system, which basically starts pumping cortisol and adrenaline around the body. This comes from the kidneys, and other parts of the body kick into action. And you probably recognize the symptoms of this. Your heart rate beats much faster. You might not be able to sleep very well. You might crave sugar because you've kind of gone into the mode that you either need to fight. You might get very defensive, like verbally defensive. You might feel, anxiety rising massively very quickly. Or you might feel like you need to run. And when you do that, you actually start to crave energy foods that will give you the energy to run. Now, the problem is what's happening really is that we're in a chronic state of high stress, and we're not in the rest, recovery, and regeneration mode that we should be in. So unfortunately, our bodies and our cells can only do one thing at a time. We are either in rest, recovery, and regeneration, or flight, fight, freeze. Now, as soon as the body goes into stress mode, the adrenaline, the cortisol kick in, the normal everyday function of the cells stop. So the normal cell growth, regeneration, all the toxic purification, all of that stuff is not able to act normally. As soon as we switch off the flight, fight, freeze, it goes back into rest, regeneration, and recovery. And that's when the cells can start, healing themselves again. So long-term stress in the body can lead to, insomnia. I have it all written here: high heart rate, high blood pressure, anxiety, depression, headaches, chronic illness, can even lead to cancer. And so that means, if you think about this logically, how you think based on how you react to your environment creates how your physical body feels, and then how your body manifests that stress, either into, do you process it calmly from a mindful and stress-free perspective, or do you process it from a stress and flight, fight, freeze perspective? And that's when you're in the high cortisol, high adrenaline mode. So we have to be very careful about how we react to situations and manage our emotions. Now, emotions are a great thing. Having an emotion is like an alarm bell to something that situation might need to change. So if you feel angry because somebody is threatening you, that's probably a very good safety strategy for you to, like, okay, well, I feel angry with this person, but maybe I'm not meant to be in this physical location. Maybe I should leave so that that nothing, physically happens to me. Or if I'm sad or depressed, that's a really good indication that me and my body and my emotional and mental well-being is not as good as it should be. So maybe I need to address something. So emotions are a great way of telling you that there's something wrong, or telling you that there's an opportunity to heal or transform or to do something different. Is everyone with me? Hopefully that all makes sense. And what I love about tapping is that actually it helps you process and acknowledge those emotions, but it then also helps you release them. We'll get to that in a second. So as I said before, tapping on the points that I'll talk you through in a few moments basically tell the body that you're safe. So as I started saying, one of the main reasons why we go into flight, fight, freeze is because we feel physically threatened or mentally or emotionally threatened. So telling the body you're safe means the body can switch off the flight, fight, freeze. I hope that makes sense. This was developed by a guy out of America. So he took what was originally called thought field therapy, which is so funny because my mum's on the call on this webinar now, and she had a book that she was given about 20 years ago on TFT, thought field therapy. And I got to see it a few months ago when I was back in Dublin. And basically there was different sequences for different things. So if you're feeling anxious about something, there'd be a specific sequence for that. Whereas what Gary Craig did was realize that was too difficult to roll out to the public audience and allow people to do this as a self-help tool. So he basically did some research into just a same sequence, which we're going to go through now, for every single topic, and it had the same results. So that is where EFT has come from. And he's also an NLP master, so he was bringing in some of that practice into his new therapy. And really, logically, if we're using acupuncture points and meridian energy points in the body and acupressure points, we're going back 5,000 years worth of knowledge that we are kind of unearthing and reusing, but in a more modern way. Hopefully, does anyone have any questions on that? Hopefully that's all clear. If anybody's new has joined, just we're using a chat box to communicate with me and everyone else. If you can do that, that would be great. So research, just in case anybody needs to feel like in order to do this, you have to have proof. And that is, extremely valid. Lots of people need proof before they do anything. So here's a little bit of proof. I have a whole book here actually from an Australian tapping guru, and it's the science of tapping. And I've just taken 2 elements out of this book to share with you. One is around how they've actually proven and tested the cortisol reduction in blood through blood tests before and after EFT, which is the full name for tapping. And can somebody just message me in the chat just to make sure you can still hear me? Sorry, I just want to make sure that nothing's wrong. So they showed that, okay, fab, thank you. They showed that the talk therapy reduces cortisol in the body by 14%. Thank you, everybody. You're very kind. I was just getting a bit lonely here. And then, which is even more, impressive, than an anxiety disorder of 5,000 patients over 5.5 years, and 11 different clinics globally. They did talk therapy, CBT, with medication and EFT without medication. And what was so interesting was that there was complete remission reported for 76% of the EFT group, but 51% of CBT. And even better was that the longer term remission a year later was 78% versus 69%. So I think in the future, the NHS is going to be rolling this out as gold standard with CBT, or even ahead of CBT, but we're just not there yet. And there's lots of people in the EFT community doing lots of work to get the EFT covered under the NHS. So touch wood and hope for the next couple of years that does happen. So the tapping points. The very beginning, we always do a setup statement, and this is using the karate chop point, which is the soft side of your arm, hand underneath here, and you just tap like that as you do your setup statement. And then what we do is a round of tapping, and the round starts at the top of your head. Now it only really starts at the top of the head and goes down in a sequence because it is easy to remember. And please don't worry if you miss out on a point, forget a point, because you're going to do multiple rounds of tapping, and you will cover that point, and it's kind of the collective signal to the brain rather than one specific point doing a certain thing. Hope that makes sense. So we start with the top of the head. Why don't you tap along with me now, just to get used to the points. And we tap, so this is the eyebrow point, it's the start of the eyebrow. Now you can tap either side, either hand, 2 hands, it doesn't matter. It's whatever feels comfortable to you. The side of the eye is kind of like towards the temple on the outer side of your eyebrow. Under the eye, under the nose, on the chin. The collarbone points are actually, so the collarbone is this hard bit up here. It's underneath that is the fleshy, soft fleshy part. That is the collarbone point. Then there's under the arm where your bra strap is. And for men, not where your bra strap is. And then wrist. So anywhere across the wrist, either wrist, some people do that. You can just tap. And we're tapping around 5 to 7 times per point. I like to tap a sentence per point. Does that give you a guide? And then the last ones on the hand are either side of the fingernail bed for every finger. So I hope you can see what I'm doing there. Just pressing either side of the fingernail bed. Okay, so we'll get lots of practice now in a few minutes. So there is 4 simple steps to tapping. I'm going to take you through that before we start our cravings script. So the first thing that you do is, I want to caveat this by, if you are in the middle of a trauma or a trauma where you're not actually physically injured, or the heat of the moment, or you've shouted at the kids and you're feeling really guilty about it, or you've just received that email from the boss, just take yourself away for a couple of minutes and just start tapping. Just start tapping on the top of your head, because you are completely in the heat of the moment. You're really feeling that emotion. And if you have time, maybe give it a number. So what we usually do before we start tapping is assess how you feel with the tapping on a scale of -10 to +10. -10 being the worst, -10 being the worst, and +10 being feeling amazing about something. Now, when you start tapping, you're kind of probably down around the negative numbers, maybe towards 0, but the goal is to tap for as long as it takes to get to an emotional shift for you. So that's where you want to feel better, and it also, giving yourself a number can help you recognize that shift. And you might find that when we go through the script later. If you're in the heat of the moment, getting yourself to a 0 might be like the absolute that you could do, and that just doing that is absolutely plenty of tapping, and it's gotten you out of like something really horrible and the heat of the moment that you need to recover from. Or you could keep going and you keep tapping and you keep going up the scale as far as you can go, and that's when you kind of start tapping more positive phrases to kind of affirmations and things like that, which would kind of embed those positive thoughts even more. But when you're starting, it is really good to just give yourself a moment to think about how I'm feeling now, and then at the very end of the tapping, you'll come in and think, how am I feeling again? And you'll hopefully notice a shift. That could change by 1 or 2 points, or it could change by 10 points. It's totally up to you, totally down to the topic, totally down to what you're tapping on and the script that you've been using, or your own words that you're using. So there is no right or wrong. This is just completely down to how you feel. And if you feel good at 0, then stop at 0. But if you feel like, oh, I've got a few more minutes, I might keep going and see where I get to, keep tapping. Hope that makes sense. So when you are taking some time out to do some tapping on a particular topic like we did tonight, we kind of tune into how you're feeling. Often we take a few breaths, bring yourself, kind of your awareness into your body, and think about how you're feeling. And this is where you would then set up your kind of, let's call it a setup statement. So this is when you do your karate chop point. So you're kind of thinking about, what emotion is it? That's the main priority thinking. What emotion is it? Is it anger? Is it judgment? Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it sadness? Is it grief? What emotion is it? And I don't know about you, but I often feel, even now, I feel it's difficult to put words to emotions. So sometimes, and actually quite a lot, we'd also put a color and a texture to it and a location. So, for example, I might be feeling a lot of anger in my chest because of the boss email. And that's red anger for me. So I've got this red anger in my chest. So I've been more specific, not just saying I'm angry, I'm saying where it is in my body. And then when you do your setup statement, you use that information and you say, even though I've got this red anger in my chest because of X, Y, Z. So I often would say, because of that email from my boss that I just got, and it made me feel so crap or shit. And do you know what? If you feel like cursing, then absolutely curse away, because that is being so true to how you're feeling at the moment. So even though I've got this deep red anger in my chest because my boss sent me a shitty email, I choose to love and accept myself anyway. So you're saying, even though I feel like this, because of this awful situation or because of what just happened, I choose to love and accept myself anyway. And you do that 3 times while you do the karate chop point. And the setup statement can be really long. It could literally tell a story, or it could just be a couple of sentences, and you can say the same thing 3 times, or you can vary the message. So you can vary what you say. And I'll show you that in our script because I vary what we say. Then you start tapping on the points. So you start at the top of the head, and we use the reminder statement to start with. So that is a summary of your setup statement. So that is the red anger in my chest, the red anger in my throat. So much red anger. All this red anger in my throat. And you're tapping 5 to 7 times. Now, let's just do a quick test. I want you to tap very hard on your head for a couple of seconds. And then I want you to tap really gently. And I want you to just tell me in the chat box which do you prefer, tapping hard or soft. There's no right or wrong. Hard, soft, soft, more firm. Okay, amazing. So you tap the way you like it. Hi, lovely. So tap soft if you like it soft, tap hard if you like it hard. This is totally down to preference and somewhere in the middle. I think I'm somewhere in the middle too, actually. And maybe when you're angry, you might tap harder than when you're not angry. Tap with your right hand, your left hand, your 2 hands, 1 hand. It doesn't matter, okay? You can't really get this wrong. So please, before you even start, stop judging yourself for getting it wrong. Who is already doing that? Who's going to fess up in the chat box? Stay true to how you're feeling. So, like I said, if you're fucking pissed off about something, then use those words. To be honest, the more specific you are to your own issue, the more effective tapping is going to be. And I'll caveat my tapping script just before we start the script as well, because the more specific you are to you, the more effective it's going to be. That's just how it works. Okay, so you do a few rounds of tapping and you start tapping on the negative emotion that you're feeling. So you're tapping all the yucky stuff. I feel so shit because of what my boss said, or I feel such sadness because of the grief that I'm experiencing. Focus on all of that, a round or 2, and maybe even more on the negative stuff. Then we get to kind of a neutral place where we say, maybe my boss was having a bad day. Maybe this email wasn't about me. Maybe this email was all about her. Maybe she was taking something out on me. It's kind of an opportunity to be your own therapist, looking at the kind of more neutral statements. Maybe I can let this go. Maybe I realize this is not good for me. And you'll see that when we go through the scripts. And then the last section of the tapping scripts are basically, I choose to let go. I release this now. I release this trauma. I release this grief. I release this shame, guilt, whatever's going on. Say, I choose now to release this X. And then finish up with some really positive affirmations like, I am worthy, I am good enough, I am good, I am amazing. Whatever it is that's going to make you feel good. So you're kind of clearing out the negative emotions and then you're programming in the new ones. So you're deprogramming the negative, programming in the new phrases that you really want in there instead of the negative stuff. Does that all make sense? I've kind of gone through this. So you just keep tapping until you feel better. Now, how do you know when you feel better? So the scale of -10 to +10 is a really good indication for you. However, I, and a good few people that I know do too, yawn a lot when I tap. And I even do some serious belching at times when it's a really, really deep release. So it'll be interesting to see how you find tapping and whether you get to yawn or if you get to do some belching. And for me, as soon as I stop yawning or I have a big yawn, I know I've let it go. It's like a real release for me. So you just need to tune in and understand what it feels like to let go and to release, and then you'll know how you get on, and you'll also know then when to stop. Another thing too is one of the reasons why we give the pain or the emotion a location and a color is because it can change. So often we will start with anger in our chest, for example, when we're tapping on the anger, and then after a few minutes you realize, oh, it's not anger anymore, it's like a blue sadness now. Why is that a blue sadness? Oh, because it reminds me when I was bullied as a child. Okay, so then we need to start tapping on that, and you tap on that. Just had somebody say, I love the thought of letting go through a yawn. Yeah, it is a really nice feeling, actually. So sometimes we might clear one emotion, but there's another emotion ready to come up and let go. You think about it, you're giving your body a way to let go through the tapping. Your body's going, oh my God, she's doing this thing and it's helping me release. Awesome. Here's another thing. So not to overwhelm you, but you can keep going until you feel better. And you might feel better after a couple of minutes of tapping. You might need to tap for longer. Like this tapping script that I've got now, we go through 10 different rounds. That's a really, really long one for me. Purely because there's so many intricacies that I think will impact our desire for alcohol. So again, it's just something to be aware of and just something to notice that the pain or the emotion can move around the body. And as even when I did my training, there's a thing called chasing the pain. So sometimes our physical pain is a really good indication that there's something wrong. I have been noticing over the course of the last 8 weeks, I've had to do a lot of presenting to my director in my day job. Every time I've had to present in the days before and almost a week after, I get a really, really bad shoulder pain. It won't go. It's like a stiff neck and it's in between my shoulder blades. And I presented last week and it's only just gone now. And I know that's what it is. But I haven't done any tapping on it, mind you. Yet I do need to do that. So there's something in physical pain. Back pain in particular is a really good indication that there's something going on mentally. Yeah, it's just something to look out on. You can actually just do tapping on pain. So even though I've got this pain in my leg, and I don't know why I've got this pain in my leg, this dark red pain in my leg, or this, black pressure in my lower back, because I've got to do this presenting. I choose to love and accept myself anyway. This dark black pressure in my back. So you can kind of do it on pain, or you can do it on physical emotions or different topics. So I can go through that in a bit later. Okay, how's everyone feeling? Let's just have a drink of water. Any questions before we go into the tapping? I don't even know how many people are online at the moment. I can't see. Everybody ready to move on? Okay. Perfect. So I want you to start tuning in now, okay? So being really serious and tuning in. Look at these pictures. Look at all the people having celebration, the beautiful looking cocktail there, the sundowners on the beach, the friends and like the celebration and all the people having drinks together. I want you to tune into your favorite drink. And I want you to think about your relationship with alcohol and your cravings with it. And I know it's a Tuesday night, and you probably haven't got the craving for it yet. Maybe pretend it's Friday and you've had a stressful week. I want you to think about your relationship with alcohol and how bad when you do get a craving, how bad it is, and then rate it on a scale -10 to +10. So I'm expecting you to kind of have a minus something figure. So just have a think about that for a minute. Take a deep breath. And then I want you to write that in the chat box for me and write it down on your piece of paper. And I'll do the same. -10s. Okay, I want you to have a think. Thank you for sharing. -7. Or to have you think about when you crave it the most. Write down, first thing that comes into your head. When do you crave alcohol the most? Thank you, that's a good one. -6, it's even on my mind even when I don't act on it. That's great. So it's not necessarily about the acting, isn't it? It's just what are you feeling? And how do you feel when the craving comes along? Write that down if you can. How does it make you feel? Yeah, kids' dinner time, stressful dinner time. And how do you feel then when you have that drink? What's the feeling that you tune into? Write that down. First thing that comes into your head. That's so interesting. Melissa, the sound of a beer is enough relief. Sound of beer opening. No, and don't judge yourself for that. No one is judging anything for anybody. We all have these feelings. Me too. And then just a quick think about the next day. So say you've had a few, not just like one. If you've had a few, how do you feel the next day? Okay, so just focus, when we go through this tapping script, I want you to focus on some of those answers that you've written down. Next day, groggy, guilty, and shameful. I've used those exact words in my script. Tired. Well done, Teresa, you're not having any tonight. Good work. The stress to relax when I know I should be relaxing, so I'm almost needing to force myself to relax. Yeah, really interesting. I have covered quite a bit of this in my tapping scripts. Awesome. Okay, so tuning into all that stuff. Now, I'm just caveating that I have written this tapping script with nobody in particular in mind, probably a lot of my own stuff in here. And, you know, some of this will resonate with you. The ritual too of pouring and mixing. So someone's just said the ritual of pouring and mixing. Okay, so think about that when we're doing this tapping script as well, okay? Because I don't say those words particularly, but if that's something that is important to you in having a drink, then almost visualize that ritual while we're doing the tapping. Does that make sense? So some things in this script are going to resonate with you massively and other things won't. That is okay. What I'm going to do is send you this tapping script afterwards so you can change and rewrite. I'll send you the Word document. You could maybe overwrite what I've written and then do it yourself. Okay, so you can make it more specific to you. And if something jumps out at you, please write it down. Just take a second to write it down. Or if there's a memory that comes to you, often we drink because of something in our past. We have these cravings that we will, you know, come, or anxiety or fear or something that we're kind of trying to avoid or suppress. And there's so many reasons why we drink, you know, from trauma, but also to conditioning. What have we seen with our family members? What have we learned from our parents? Societal expectations, cultural inheritance. The Irish drink like it's literally going out of fashion, but we also eat like it's going out of fashion. I think because of the famine. We've inherited this, we'll never get another drink, we'll never have another meal mentality. Therefore, we cannot stop once we start. Does that ring a bell with anybody? So, you know, be kind to yourself. This is, you know, there's a story in your past that will have created your relationship with alcohol. So this is just about acknowledging and no judgment. We're not judging ourselves. This is where we are right now. The past, I have written this to make sure that I make this message clear. The past does not matter right now. What matters is that you are here, you've shown up, you are present, and you are going to shape your future by learning this tool and maybe doing this tapping script. And any little shift can have a massive impact on your life, but it also can have a ripple effect on the people around you. Nothing is too insignificant, okay? Think of the butterfly wings. All right, so I am using, for my tapping script, a black heavy pressure in my chest. So just think, when you think about this number that you've tuned into, -6, -7, -8, -10, think about how that makes you feel, that need for alcohol. How does that need for alcohol make you feel? What emotion is it? So write this down. What emotion is it? What color is it? And where in the body is it? And I want you to quickly just craft a setup statement. No, actually, just not this full setup statement, just the, so I'm going to say heavy black pressure in my chest. So you just give yourself something that has the emotion, the color, and maybe the texture or weight. And even if it's just black pain in my chest, whatever it is, that's what you're going to say. Because I can't hear you, you can say what you like. And I want you to be specific to how you're feeling. Okay, so when I say, even though I have a black heavy pressure in my chest, I want you to say, even though I have a, whatever you've written down. Can everybody just let me know that you're clear with that and you're comfortable and ready to go? I'll just give you a minute to do that. Oh, I have somebody here sending alcohol emojis. You're definitely ready. Just so you know, we have someone from Sydney on tonight. Thank you so much, pal, for getting up in the morning and being here at 7 a.m. your time. I see you. Okay, everyone's got what they need to say. So let's start. Let's just take 3 deep breaths and then we're going to start. Okay. So inhaling peace, exhaling tension. I'll stop sharing this actually. Okay. Hopefully you can all see me now better. My script stopped falling on me. Okay, let's go. Even though I have so say this out loud, I can't hear you, no one can hear you. Even though I have a black heavy pressure in my chest, because I'm often angry and disappointed on my reliance and craving of alcohol, when deep down I know it doesn't serve me. And I'd like to have more control of it in my life. I choose to love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have a black heavy pressure in my chest, because I'm sad at how much I enjoy alcohol and how I use it to make myself feel better. When I know there are better things out there for me, I choose to love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have a black heavy pressure in my chest, because I'm often angry and disappointed about my lack of control when it comes to alcohol. And I can't just have a few. I keep drinking, and I often can't remember what took place, the conversations I was part of, which makes me so anxious the next day. So I know it does not serve my physical and mental health. But I choose to love and accept myself anyway. Okay, deep breath in. Oh, I'm yawning already. Top of the head. All this black pressure in my chest. Eyebrow. I'm carrying a lot of pressure in my chest. Side of the eye. I hold all the weight of these alcohol cravings in my chest. Under the eye. So many alcohol cravings. Under the nose. I crave alcohol more than I'd like to. I know it's not good for me. Collarbone. Makes me feel anxious the next day. Under the arm. Makes me feel angry and disappointed in myself. Wrist. I hold a lot of guilt and shame to do with alcohol. Oh, I need to yawn. Oh, sorry. So much guilt and shame from things I've done and said when I've been drinking. Okay, forefinger. I know everyone else has too, but that doesn't free me from this shame. Alcohol has become so weighted for me. It feels like a chain weighing me down. So much black pressure in my chest from this anger and disappointment in myself. Top of the head. I know I use alcohol to chase something. I'm chasing this desired feeling or perfect outcome. And I never seem to have it realized when I drink, because I go too far and drink too much. I feel so ashamed of my behavior sometimes. Because I can't remember what I said. Sometimes I can't remember whole conversations. What am I chasing? Why do I like drinking so much? What makes it so fun when I feel bad the next day and I can't even remember the night? But I'm really scared to give it up completely. So maybe I could just focus on having more control. And not needing it as often as I do. And letting go of the need or desire for alcohol. Maybe I'm chasing those carefree days when I was younger. And I had no responsibilities and I could just do what I liked. And now when I go out, maybe I'm just trying to recreate that time. Chasing happiness from times past. Even though I loved those times and I want them back. And alcohol reminds me of them. I know now that I can look at this and release it. And I know that I'm just doing the best that I can. And that I've always been doing the best that I can. But maybe I want to be able to shed this craving. Because it doesn't serve me anymore. Maybe I can look at this now. Maybe I can rewrite my future starting now. Maybe I can really let this go. So I choose to look at this now. Maybe I rely on alcohol too much to soothe me when I'm stressed. Maybe I reach for alcohol when I have had a bad day. Maybe I reach for alcohol when things haven't gone my way. Maybe I rely on alcohol as a reward for a tough day. Sure, I deserve it, or I've earned it. Maybe I rely on alcohol to boost my confidence, but maybe it strips me of my self-belief instead. Maybe I rely on alcohol to feel like I fit in. Maybe I rely on alcohol to feel free without inhibitions. Maybe I rely on alcohol to give me permission to be me. Maybe I rely on alcohol to just not care for a few hours. Maybe I rely on alcohol to be carefree. Maybe I rely on alcohol to make me happy. Maybe I rely on alcohol to lose control. Maybe I rely on alcohol to loosen up and let go. Maybe I rely on alcohol to recreate happy times. Maybe I rely on alcohol to not feel lonely. Maybe I use alcohol to hide unresolved pain and trauma. Maybe I sometimes rely on alcohol to numb my pain. Maybe it's easier to numb my pain than to figure out how to let it go. Maybe I sometimes use alcohol to numb grief and loss. Maybe I use alcohol to temporarily forget. Maybe I use alcohol to fill a hole or plug a gap. Maybe alcohol only makes me feel good for a short time. Maybe alcohol is adding to my daily sense of anxiety. Maybe I'm afraid I can't be strong when I feel the peer pressure to drink. Maybe I'm afraid I won't be fun anymore. Maybe I'm afraid my friends and family won't find me fun to be around. Maybe I can't be fun without alcohol. Maybe I'm afraid my friends and family will think something's wrong with me. Maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe the feeling that alcohol equates to fun is just an illusion. Maybe I can see past this illusion and see it for what it is. It could all just be a marketing ploy and not real. Maybe I do some or all of these things. Maybe I believe some or all of these things on a conscious or subconscious level. But that's okay. I've had a lifetime of conditioning on alcohol. I did not know any other way. Lots of people are in the same position as me. So I choose now to release myself from judgment. I choose now to release myself from any shame and guilt I have related to alcohol in any way. I'll say that again. I choose now to release myself from any shame and guilt I have related to alcohol in any way. I choose now to cut my ties to alcohol. Okay, 3 more rounds, stay with me. I actively choose to change things. I choose to let these beliefs and stories go. I let go of all these beliefs and stories holding me back. I choose to let these behaviors go, as I know they are no longer serving me. I release now my behaviors relating to alcohol that no longer serve me. My cravings for alcohol are maybe just a signal that I need to relax. And maybe there are other ways to feel happy, relaxed, and carefree. Maybe it's my body craving some self-care. I choose now to find other ways to relax. I decide now that every time I have a craving, I choose to focus on other things that make me feel good instead. I'll do that one again. I decide now that every time I have a craving, I choose to focus on other things that make me feel good instead. Oh, that was a big one. Okay, forefinger. Every time I have a craving for alcohol, I choose another relaxing activity. I choose to take a deep breath in. I choose to relax and let go. I choose to release the stress in my body. Okay. Maybe I can be me without alcohol. Maybe I can have a good night out without alcohol. Maybe I'll remember more without alcohol. Maybe I really don't like feeling out of control. I really don't like how I feel the next day. I choose now to believe that it's safe to be me without alcohol. Often the guilt, shame, and anxiety rise the next day. Sorry, I'll go back to that. On the chin. Often the guilt, shame, and anxiety rise the next day. So I choose now to believe that it's safe to be me without alcohol. Underarm. I do believe it's safe to be me without alcohol. The people who love me will honor my decision. It's my choice, but sometimes I might choose not to drink. I am strong in the decisions I make. I am confident in the decisions I make. I'm confident in myself without alcohol. And it's safe to be me and fully present without alcohol. Okay, second last round. Stay with me if you can. If you need to jump off, that's fine. You can maybe catch up later. I choose fully and completely to accept and love myself as I am now. I choose to release myself of all these beliefs now. I release all the beliefs that govern my relationship with alcohol. I am strong enough to find a new way. I am so strong. I am confident. I find happiness in many places. I focus on all the joy in my life. I focus on gratitude for all of this joy. And even when I feel sad or anxious or stressed, I feel the strength to have control over my choices. I have complete control over my choices. I am worthy of having a healthy body. I'm worthy of having joy and happiness in my life. I'm worthy of connecting to the energy of love. Okay, last round. Ooh. A second. I completely love and accept myself exactly as I am. I have been doing the best I can with the knowledge and experience I have at this present moment. I am continuing to do the best that I can with the knowledge and experience I have at this present moment. I'm open to learning a new way and to trusting myself. I choose to do what is right for me and my body. I am powerful in my choices. I'm worthy of making healthy choices. I am pure and my heart is good. I have completely let go of these ties to alcohol. I have a strong will and make powerful choices. I trust myself at all times. And now we're just going to say a Hawaiian healing mantra. So just repeat after me. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. Take a deep breath in, everybody, and maybe a stretch. Oh, deep breath. Releasing out any remaining tension from your body. I just want you to connect in with yourself. Feet on the ground, a few more deep breaths. How do you feel now in your relation to alcohol? How is your will and your resolve? How do you feel about your decision making and your empowerment about making that decision? Think about a number from -10 to +10 and write down what you feel now. And if anything came to you, I'm going to give you a minute or two to write down anything on your notepad that came up for you or that resonated with you. Or if you felt a shift, how did that feel? How does a shift feel to you? And then I'll ask you maybe give me some feedback when you've had a chance to do that. Drink some water, ladies. I'll explain that in a minute. Someone's just said that they've yawned their way through that. With a positive thumbs up. Awesome. What number would you give yourself now? Oh, we've had a burper. Yes, awesome. I did some burping too. Lots of yawning. Brilliant. It's a really good sign. +6. Fantastic. Well done. That was a -10 to a +6. That's fantastic. But remember, the number shifts. They're totally personal to you. There's no right or wrong. My feeling was great, fuzzy feeling in my throat, and I felt it coming up during the session. Has it gone now? I had a leg spasm and one leg completely let go of tension I didn't even realize I was holding. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, and the fuzzy grey feeling in your throat is better. Fantastic, well done. My friend down under is feeling hungry. The reason why I'm trying not to use your names, by the way, is for data protection. I'm not trying to be rude. I hope you can understand that. I'm trying to protect your identities. Leg spasm, that's really good. Yes, so you can, if you, all panelists and attendees, if you can show that, if you want to share it with the group. Thank you. Any numbers? How are people feeling now on the scale? Shivers down your spine right at the beginning too. Amazing. It's all just about tuning into yourself and listening and understanding how your body processes energy. Your body, you know, as soon as you started tapping, you've done tapping before, so your body's gone, oh, she's doing tapping again. Awesome. I'm going to get ready now. I'm going to get ready to shift. So the more you tap, the more your body recognizes what you're doing. It's like muscle memory. You know, when you haven't been to the gym or yoga for so long and then you do it and it's like your body remembers. That's exactly what's happening with tapping when you do it more often. Okay, so someone said, yes, yawning and a couple of bumps. I think I'm a +8. I was able to go to the pub and not drink, but I felt a shift to know people in the sober me out and not out of control drunk me. I think I was chasing the younger me. I feel more relaxed in me now. That's fantastic. That is a really lovely sentiment. Oh, someone's feeling very relaxed now, ready for bed. Must be a 10. Thank you. Well done. You're going to possibly feel tired, right? You have just let go of a tie to alcohol that might have been there quite some time. And there might be some like deeper reasons why that link is there. So be good to yourself. I'll let you go now so you can relax and go to bed. Maybe even if you have time, a salt bath, or you could do that tomorrow night. Look after yourself over the next few days. Now drink water. Okay, so when our cells go from flight, fight, freeze into rest, regeneration, recovery, the body's able to release toxins. So the water will help come in and clear out the toxins in the cells. So that's why we drink lots of water. It's why you drink water after a massage and things as well. You've gone from stress mode to relax mode, and your body will need the aid of the water to help you clear out. Does anybody get any questions before we wrap up? Someone's just said, I've never realized that's why you have to drink water after a massage. They don't tell you, because I actually don't think that they realize, but they have been told to tell you to drink water. And it's the same with any kind of relaxing activity. Any questions about tapping or any other? Oh, I have a message saying, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that you all came. And for anybody who is going to do this on catch up, please just honor where you're at. There is no right or wrong. This script might not work for you. You might need to adapt it for your own situation. And you might need to do it a few times because there might be some things in there that you need to work on harder. And we've had some messages to me saying, how can we watch this back? And we'd love to watch it again tomorrow night. I'm still recording. After it records, in a couple of hours, it will send me a link to the record. So I will get an email out to you guys maybe tomorrow afternoon, evening, if I can, to help you do this again tomorrow night. And someone said, yes, thank you for giving up your precious time to us. I'm very honored and delighted to be here, and it's so lovely to do tapping with you. And to be honest, this is something I wanted to do for me, and I feel it's a calling for me to slowly wind down the alcohol desire. So for me, this was quite selfish because it's forced me into doing the tapping script on alcohol. So thank you all. Yeah, some nice messages. Thank you for your time and efforts with the tapping scripts. You're welcome. Hopefully that's really helped. Hopefully you feel a bit more confident in trying tapping yourself. You can take the scripts. I will send you the replay link, but also the tapping script and the script template. So you could actually look at maybe picking a couple of these things and then rewriting your own and then tapping on it. So someone's just said, your email came at the perfect time. I poured myself a glass of water and ice and a wedge of orange in a glass to attempt to appease the craving. Not a good sign. Well, that's good timing then. Well done for listening to the call and for following your intuition and for coming here today in a fancy wine glass. Well done. And that is a good way of getting rid. I actually drink tonic water. I drink tonic water instead of a gin now, and it gets rid of my gin craving. So I don't mind that. And lime and soda is good for people who do, vodka, lime and soda. Kombucha, yes, I've had some of that recently. I need to start that. Yes, kombucha. Let's all go drink that instead. Thank you all. I know I've gone over time, and I do appreciate you being here and all the lovely messages. So thank you, and I hope to chat to you all soon. I'll end now and have a lovely evening and sleep well, and I'll see you soon. Remember, honor yourself and drink lots of water. Thank you all for a wonderful evening.